Hi everybody, Josh with FlexTrades here, and today I'm joined by Mike Tuchalski, Regional Sales Manager for ACS Group. Mike, thank you very much for the time. Really looking forward to learning a little bit more about your booth and what you brought here for everyone to see.
Absolutely.
But for those that can't make it to PTXPO this year, why don't you tell us a little bit more about your company first, who you are, what you do, where you come from.
We're ACS Group. Our headquarters is in New Berlin, Wisconsin, so just about 25 minutes west of Milwaukee. ACS stands for our three primary brands, so that's AEC, Cumberland, and Sterling. When you think of the three flagship brands, AEC is our flagship material handling brand, Cumberland is our flagship size reduction granulation brand, and then Sterling is our flagship water product, so think process cooling, temperature control units.
Regardless of brand, when somebody is working with you as a client or a customer, what makes them choose you over the competition that might be out there generally?
Yeah, I would say, our track record with proven equipment. Our brands have been in the business for 80 plus years. So we've refined our product over time. Some stuff, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But we're definitely aware that in order to stay in the space and stay competitive and take market share from our competition, that we have to create innovative products. But the other thing besides the products is our people. We've got a lot of seasoned technical sales and application people. We have really good service and support. We stock a lot of spare parts to support and keep our customers up and running. And so that's really, the key indicators that separate us from the competition.
That's awesome. And FlexTrades supports American manufacturing, so we're big fans of American manufacturers.
Yep.
Is everything made in Wisconsin too?
So most of it, we do have an operation offshore. We own the facility. We manage the quality standards. Everything's tested and double checked out of our New Berlin, Wisconsin facility before it ships. We do have a sister company in Wabash, Indiana. They make large compression presses, so Wabash and Carver are those two brands. They do some of our manufacturing for some of our ACS, AEC, Cumberland, Sterling auxiliary equipment because they have additional capacity down there. So
awesome.
We do a lot of it here, but we do have some offshore.
That's okay, and it sounds like whatever's made outside of America is still getting American certified and American approved.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Yep.
So great company, we learned a little bit about that, but we're all here today for the booth. Why don't you show us some of the highlights in the booth and what you want people in our network to make sure they know about when it comes to ACS Corporation?
Yeah, absolutely. So right behind us, we've got a batch weigh blender. So this setup is about a 500 pound an hour system. It's got a 4-component hopper on the top. We can scale this up. We can do up to 8 component hoppers. We can, if you have non-free flowing material, there's things that we can do with augers and agitators to make sure we get the material to flow. And, we can meet multiple throughput ranges. So, we start at 500 pounds an hour and we go all the way up to 6,000 pounds an hour. We have integral controls so we can, handle the convey, pumps, and receivers all with the same controller on our unit.
FlexTrades, we obviously love flexibility. Being able to bring the same system, but with some of those augmentations you're talking about, like augers and conveyors
Absolutely.
and whatnot, be able to handle a wide variety of material and output on that.
Yeah.
And then the other thing too that I think might be a really good spot here to educate some of our younger viewers on, because we do have a lot at the tech school level and even earlier than that. Now, you and I know this is for plastics manufacturing, and when we're talking about multi-units and stuff, a lot of that has to do with color changes and component changes. But what does somebody that's maybe not in the industry yet need to know about this component, this product, or kind of your systems in general?
Yeah, so you brought up a good point with, color changes and maintenance. So all of our access points are tool-free. There's interlock connections, so you're never going to be able to get in where you're going to, you never get into the mixer and have the mixer spinning. And within our controller, we can actually store 100 unique recipes. So, you might need up to 6 components, but you could also be running a recipe that's just a virgin resin and maybe a regrind. And you store those, so you're just selecting one, and then if you want to make a change, it's in real time. So it'll continue to weigh the next batch and then immediately switch to the new recipe on the following one. We do have other, centralized controls platforms that we can tack onto this. So now you can monitor usage, you can monitor if you've had faults, maybe on third shift when there's less supervision. So there's a lot of things that we can do to help tailor it to anybody's specific process. In the plastics business, it's not, you don't do well if it's just a lick and stick product.
Yes.
You need to be able to manipulate it and adapt it to your customer to better service them. There's thousands of injection molders out there. but no two processes are identical.
And I love that too, building, things that safety first is a big thing we preach at FlexTrades. Everybody's process has safety into it. you guys are integrating it right into machine design so
Yeah.
that no matter how good or bad that process is, it's less likely to hurt somebody.
Absolutely.
You're making it easy, you're making it efficient. Sustainability matters. So really great, simple product that combines a lot of high-level concepts.
Absolutely.
What else should we be seeing here in the booth while we're here?
So if we want to look this way,
Lead on.
So here we have just a standard water temperature control unit. In our product offering, we do water and oil TCUs. So water, we can get up to 300 degrees on the water TCUs, and then we typically switch to oil. So
Okay.
oil, we can go up to 600 degrees. This unit is an upright, so it's got a larger pump, a larger heater that's would be sized for typically a larger mold on an injection press. We do have multiple kind of price points within our TCUs. This is kind of our top of the line unit. It's got a 3.5-inch color display, whereas we've got our Econo entry level line, which is, you know, just a standard Eurotherm controller. Then we go to our 120 where you have gauges as standard, you have a little bit more features.
Yeah.
But we can manipulate, again, just like the blenders, we can manipulate it to a specific injection process, extrusion process for cooling or maintaining a temperature on a mold.
Awesome. And I know there's some people at home right now that haven't been in some of these large scale facilities going, what do you need a standalone water heater for? What do you need a standalone oil heater for? Why not just run that through the system? Well, if you have one machine in your entire facility that needs oil that's heated to 680 degrees, doesn't make a lot of sense to have that piped in throughout your entire system and have to worry about repairing, maintaining injuries when you can just locate that right at the machine that's utilizing it,
Right.
keep
Plug
it
it in.
in-house condensed, and then reapply it or get another one at a different station, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's common that, you know, every injection mold machine is going to have a temperature control unit to maintain temperature on the mold.
Yeah, wonderful. What else should we see? You got a couple other things in here I'd love to look at.
Behind the screen here, we have a couple of granulation products. So this unit right here is a screenless granulator. Screenless granulators are ideal for injection molders that are going to cyclically feed a runner. So these are not parts grinders. They're good for high fill, you know, high talc or high glass filled materials because they're only spinning at about 30 RPMs. So they're just breaking the parts. You don't get the plume of dust with talc, but they are intended to only be cyclically fed because they spin so slow. You don't want to throw a whole barrel of parts in there because you'll overrun the small 2 horsepower motor on them. So, you know, these are good for the guys that want to automate. They have a sprue picker that's going to take that sprue, drop it in the top, and, you know, then they can send that ground resin directly to a blender, directly back to their process with a remote proportioning valve on a loader. A bunch of different ways to adapt it to the process, but really good for cyclically feeding runners for an injection mold process.
And super mobile too. So if you have
Absolutely.
different stations that or different cells that may be in need of that cyclical feeding versus more of like a large bulk feeding, you can kind of use this one tool to bring that cyclical capability to a number of different cells. Before we wrap up, anything that you want our audience to know about the company or this industry that you're serving before we sign off today?
Yeah, I mean, if you're in the business for auxiliary equipment, we're happy to help you. And you know, our resources have been in the business for decades. So if it's something that maybe is new to you in the business, chances are we've seen it and we have a solution to help, you know, do what you need to do.
Yeah, I can't encourage that enough. If you're thinking about that, make some calls. The worst thing you can say is no, and you'll learn more when you do. Other than that, Mike, I appreciate the time and the education so much.
Likewise, thank
Hope
you.
you have a great rest of the show. For those of you that can't make it to PTXPO 2023, keep an eye out on our social media. We're going to have more great content like this, and we'll see you next time.